Okay, here's your teaching point for today. As writers, we find our seed idea, our thesis in an essay, by rereading our entries and thinking, what is the big idea I really want to say? Please write that down right now. As writers, we find our seed idea, our thesis in an essay, by reading our entries and thinking, what is the big idea I really want to say? As I move this next slide to show you some pictures, I want you to keep it in mind, please. Okay. I want you to think, how do these pictures relate to the work we've been doing in writing so far during the literary essay unit? How do these pictures relate to what we've been doing? Think silently to yourself for a second. All right, turn and talk to your partner. Go. All right, what are some of the ideas that we have? How do these pictures, which are all different, relate to what we've been doing in learning? Santiago?
It's kind of like it's all stuffed into one little thing. Like the water, it's filled with water. The bucket is filled with candy, it's overflowing. All pretty much everything else. Like the suitcase has too much stuff, and the mailbox has the letters on it.
Okay, and how does that relate to the writing we've been doing?
That we're kind of trying to give all the information we can in a little thing.
Okay, thank you for your idea. Memo, can you add on?
Well, as you can see, in all of them, at the end, in the waters at the end, but in the others, like already, it's a full. It's full. That means it's like our notebooks. It represents our notebooks, and with a lot, like in the mailbox, all of those are ideas, and the candies, all of those are ideas. And today, what we're gonna do is pick one out in the letters to read, in the candies to eat.
Okay, thank you very much for your thoughts. You guys both got it right. Our notebooks are full of ideas. And now we are ready to move on to that next step that Memo was just talking about choosing one or two of those ideas and figuring out what we're really trying to say about it and zooming in on that one idea. Okay. So moving forward, I have a couple steps for us. I thought it might be easier for us to think of steps today as we figure out what we're going to do. First, Rodrigo, can you please read number 1 for us?
We read ideas from notebooks asking, what is the main thing I really want to say?
Okay. Laura, number 2.
Make a list of possible thesis statements.
All right. Marcy, number 3, please.
Revise the statement by asking, does this opinion relate to more than one part of the text? Is there enough evidence from the text?
Thank you. Tomas.
Choose best 2 thesis statements.
And the last step, Lucy?
Writing supporting bullets.
All right, then we're going to write supporting bullets. So I'm about to model how to do this step by step. And then afterwards, you're going to work independently and a little bit with your partner on these steps. Okay? All right, so the first thing is to reread our ideas from our notebook and ask, what is the main thing I really want to say? So I copied and pasted a couple of my ideas from my notebook to share with you today. So I'm going to start off by reading those. And keeping in mind, I'm asking myself while I'm reading, what is the main thing I really want to say? So, at the beginning of the story, Magpie is hurt and Dog comes to her rescue. He carries Magpie gently in his mouth. This shows he is trying to help her, not hurt her. Dog carries Magpie to his cave and takes care of her burnt wing. Dog really wants to help Magpie. He helps her, Wing, get better, and then tries to help her spirits get better. Magpie does not want Dog's help, but Dog keeps trying. This shows that he doesn't give up easily. He tries to cheer Magpie up by telling her that he tries to cheer Magpie up by telling her that he is blind and life is still good. But Magpie can only focus on the fact that she will no longer be able to fly. But for some reason, she won't let Dog help her. So knowing that, I want you to help me out by thinking in your mind, what do you think I might be trying to say with the different thoughts that I've come up with? I've noticed I've underlined some things. What I'm noticing is the things that I've underlined are my ideas. They're not parts of the story, but the ideas that I think about the story. So this shows that he's trying to help her, not hurt her. Dog really wants to help Magpie. It tells me kind of that Dog's helpful. Okay, he's helpful. All right, what else? This shows that he doesn't give up easily. She won't let Dog help her. So maybe one idea is that Dog is helpful. Another idea is that, this shows that he doesn't give up easily. Maybe one of my thesis statements could be that he doesn't give up easily. Turn and talk to your partner. What ideas do you get? What is the main idea that you get from my writing? Go. Thank you. I'm going to take just a couple ideas that you guys came up with. Laura, what was one of your ideas that might be what I'm trying to really say?
I think that what you're trying to tell us is that those could be possible thesis statements.
Okay, did you have one thesis statement that you might have come up with from my writing?
Yes, one.
Okay.
I like it, but it's like a little bit long. The one that Dog is trying to help Magpie, not hurt her.
Okay, so there could be one of my ideas. All right. What else? What did you and your partner just discuss? Lucy?
Marissa told me this, but she told me that one thesis statement would be that never give up on friends.
Never give up on friends. So I can see that Marcy she read what I had written, my entries. She noticed the ideas that I had underlined, but then she still took all those and made up a new thesis statement. She didn't just copy something that was underlined, but she went a step further. All right, critically thinking. All right, what else, Danny?
That, the dog didn't have any friends, so maybe he wanted to help Magpie, so she felt better and she could be his friend. So he was determined to help her and didn't give up easily.
Okay, so I hear you saying Dog doesn't give up easily. All right, these are all different thesis statements that, yes, you could get from just my two entries. And I know you guys have lots more that you will be able to read through and go through. So step one, again, is reread our ideas and ask, what is the main thing I really want to say? Now, here's a list of possible thesis statements that I came up with. Okay, I came up with 3. Dog wants to save Magpie. Dog tries to help Magpie in different ways. And the third one was Magpie doesn't appreciate Dog's friendship. But now, how do I figure out which one I'm going to do? Which one's the best? That's what I have to figure out next. Okay? I'm asking just because I want to know in my head. Thank you. I'm thinking. I think that we need to move on to step number 3. So let's see what step number 3 is. Okay, I have a list of possible thesis statements. The next step is to revise this thesis statement by asking myself two questions. The first question is, does this opinion relate to more than one part of the text? And number two, is there enough evidence to support this text? Well, my first bullet was, dog wants to save Magpie. I want you to turn and talk with your partner. If we think about examples to support this, do they come from the whole story? What do you think? Turn and talk with your partner. Go. All right, eyes back up here, please. So what did you guys think? Does this relate to more than one part of the story, and is there enough evidence? Regina?
There's not enough, like Lisa said, there's not enough evidence, and that just happened in the beginning. Like, you wouldn't get to write a lot about something that just happened in the beginning of the story.
Oh, okay. So I hear that there's only in one part of the story, and there's not enough evidence. So I could go ahead right now and just cross this one off, because I won't be able to support it well enough. Okay? So that's how I know if I'm going to be able to use a thesis statement or not, is by asking myself these two questions. It's okay to realize, you know what, I don't have enough for this. It was a good idea, but not one that I'm going to use as a thesis statement. Okay? So I'm going to cross this one off. And let's see what next step number 3 is. Okay? Oops. Excuse me. So I crossed this one off. This one's gone. Now I have 2 left. So I would need to go through with each of the thesis statements and ask myself those same 2 questions. Please put your question. Ask these 2 same questions to myself about these 2 thesis statements. Is it in more than one part of the story? And is there enough evidence to support this idea? When I went back and did that, I came up with the idea that dog is a good friend. I know we were talking back here with Regina and Isa that the first one wasn't good, but there were some other good ideas there as well. Okay? And so I came up with dog is a good friend because, Isa, weren't you saying that dog was helpful? And how did you know that dog was helpful?
Because he helped my friend. No.
How did he help Magpie?
Because he helped her recover.
Okay, so he helped her recover. That was one thing. What was another thing that dog did to help Magpie? Vale?
Like he tried to remember her like about flying because since she was hurt, like she didn't know how to fly, so she was trying to make her feel better.
Okay, so there was another one. And so keeping those ideas of evidence in my mind, that's where I went from dog tries to help Magpie in different ways. And when I asked myself those questions about revising, I realized, you know what, there is different examples, but that's also telling me that, you know what, that tells me that dog's a good friend. If he's going to go through a burnt forest to rescue a bird and then try and help her with her burnt wing and then help her try and fly again, these were traits of a good friend. So my new thesis statement is dog is a good friend. And I came up with a couple bullets, which is actually my step 4 and 5. It's come up with a revised thesis statement, but then come up with different bullets to support that idea. My first piece of support is dog is a good friend because he's caring. Please notice that I didn't say dog is a good friend because he helped her wing, because then that gives it all away right away. Okay, I say a bigger general idea because he's caring, and then later I can go through and explain what I mean by that. So dog is a good friend because he's caring, dog is a good friend because he doesn't give up on his friends, and dog is a good friend because he sees good in people. So, going back to here, I'm going to choose my best 2 thesis statements. Can you show me on your fingers how many thesis statements have I chosen so far? Of one that I'm going to move forward with? How many have I chosen that I'm saying, yes, this is a good one, I'm going to move forward with it? I've chosen 1 so far. I know it's the one I just showed you. And I've written supporting bullets. But I still need to go back and find a second one and find supporting bullets for that. Now, once you come up with your thesis statement, you may be thinking, well, how do I even come up with these supporting bullets? I have good news for you. I have a resource to help you out. You're going to have a plastic, I'm not sure what they call it. Excuse me. Thank you. A plastic stand that's going to hold up a piece of paper that's going to help support you in that. And it's going to say, how do I support my thesis statement? And I have the example, dog is a good friend on there. And the ways that I can support my thesis statement are with reasons, with kinds or ways, with times when, with evidence of how it is true for one character, and then how it's true for another character, or with evidence of how it is true at the beginning of the story, and then at the end of the story. The plastic setups that you have with your examples have an example for different bullet points. For dog is a good friend with reasons, have examples with kinds or ways, so you get to see how that might look with each of these different ways to support your thesis statement. Okay? So going back to what you're going to do today, okay? You're first going to reread your ideas in your notebook. Can you put up one finger with me, please? Your first step is going to be to reread your notebook ideas and ask, what is the main thing you want to say? Number 2, 2 fingers should be wiggling up in the air. Number 2 is make a list of possible thesis statements. And then number 3, thank you, revise this thesis statement by asking yourself the questions. Does this opinion relate to more than one part of the story? And also, is there enough evidence to support it? Number 4, you're going to choose your best 2 thesis statements that you've revised. And then number 5, 5 fingers up in the air, you are going to write supporting bullets to support each of those thesis statements using the plastic try setup that has some supporting examples for you. Okay? So when you go back to your seat in just a moment, I would like you to start with number 1. Okay? Before you go, yes, Regina?
So at the end we have to have like 2 revised theses.
Correct. Correct. Before you go back to your seat though, can you turn to your partner and see if you have any questions that you need answered from your partner, and make sure your partner understands what the directions are today. Go, turn and talk.